afternoon edition with my special guest star, Dr. Marilyn Scott. I've been a wonderful colleague over the last few years, and together we have gained so much insight into the nuances and different facets of LinkedIn that usually go unnoticed. And what we're going to do today is what we typically do is just kind of trade insights. We also want to invite any chat or comments. Love to put you on the air. And with that said, Dr. Marilyn, why don't you share a little bit about yourself, and then we can get right into the value add that we bring.
Well, I'm very honored to have this opportunity with you, Don. Don and I have been working together for almost 3 years. And I'm really excited about that. We've both modulated into other areas on LinkedIn. I used to have a radio show and an internet radio show and a Roku TV show, and I decided in June that I needed to move on to other things. So right now I'm on sabbatical writing a book, and I'm glad to tell you, Don, that I spent this morning, all morning, working on my book, which I am so proud of myself for getting that done. So I'm not done yet, but I'm getting there. So that's what I'm doing right now, and I don't know, I might put some things in there about LinkedIn because I think it's really important when you have a business to be on LinkedIn and to be more active on LinkedIn. I think the activity that you have on LinkedIn is important to keep you going, to stay motivated, and just to be out there. Just to be out there is important. I mean, Donna and I have worked together, and a lot of people say, "Oh, we're so glad you're working together again." So I'm glad to be working together with you, and I'm glad that I'm the guest, not the host. So
Well,
take it away, Don.
Yeah, and kind of what you see out there is what we are. So this is kind of how we talk when we're not talking in front of an audience. And it's a learning game and it's a collaborating game. Without learning, you get stagnant, and without collaborating, you can get stale and burned out and frustrated. And what I'm so pleased with is the advent of LinkedIn Live, which is what we're doing right now. And it saves so much time, so much preparation. It actually filters people out based on who you are and what you're talking about. So you never see the people who don't want to see you, which is great for everybody. And that way you can focus on the people who really want to see you, really want to talk to you. And I think the key thing is, who wants to be a person here? Who wants to genuinely be a good person who helps other people, who teaches other people, and supports other people? And everybody says, well, I'm sure doing a lot. But very few people do so much. And because of that, they don't get rewarded. Because the more people you can help become successful, the more successful you'll be, because you'll be playing a role in everybody else's success, and out of guilt or gratitude, they'll want to keep it going. Right?
Yeah, you want to keep it going. You want to keep the motivation. You want to be out there. I don't post that much anymore. I used to post a lot when I had my show. I felt obligated to do it, but now I comment on people's posts, but I seldom post. And I'm getting more into LinkedIn Live myself. And I love doing the LinkedIn Lives with Don because it keeps me motivated. And it's like killing two birds with one stone. We're both out there doing something to help you get motivated and learn more about LinkedIn Live or posting or tagging or what you need to do out there. And I think sometimes when people they've just started, or they have maybe a few hundred or maybe a few thousand, and their posts are not taking traction. I found when we started working years ago together that I felt we needed to tag, and we did tag a lot, Don, both of us did. And that's how we got the traction. And I feel that's how people are successful in getting traction, and they'll have more people wanting to connect with them because they're out there. I really don't see too many people out there recently, to be honest with you. And I don't know if it's because of the change of seasons, the change of time frame. I don't know what it is, but I don't see the people out there that I normally do.
Well, I think just like we moved on to more LinkedIn Live, other people have gotten what they wanted out of it and moved on to another area of LinkedIn, or just decided, like pretty much we did, that connections in number mean nothing.
Right.
Right? So we're looking for relevant, quality relationships, not a bunch of frivolous, scammy type of stuff that takes place when you don't have a filter. And LinkedIn Live is the filter, because unless you are on it, you don't know it exists.
Exactly.
Right? Everybody else is commenting and posting. It's a mob. It's like a food fight. And when you get to LinkedIn Live, it gets like being in an airplane, and now it's you and the audience, and people get to know you for you. I had a call this morning with a wonderful gentleman. His name is Mario. And he was a LinkedIn Live viewer and got really inspired by watching me. And now he says, I'm a fan. So I try to watch every day. And I'm on every day at 9 a.m., just like if you were a CBS show, right? The morning show, whatever it is they got, 9 a.m., 10 a.m., 8 a.m., doesn't matter. It's your way of saying, here's what I got to say today.
Right.
Right. And what he was impressed with is how comfortable and casual I speak versus people that come on and in 20 seconds you're falling asleep because they're talking like they're a professor, like they're on a stage, instead of in someone's living room having a cup of coffee with them. And that's something, and I know, Marilyn, you've got that talent of relating to people, being comfortable around people, making them comfortable around you, and making them, even more importantly, comfortable with themselves, which then will allow them to ignite, because that's the biggest issue. It's not, do people have the capability? LinkedIn is just meeting somebody at the end of the block, right? There's nothing to it. You do it, you never think about it, And we've got a comment from.
Yeah.
I know, I'll do my best, but it's Luke J. I got that right.
Cadoga.
Okay, we'll leave it right at that, so we don't have to go over it twice. Nice session. Well, that's so gratifying, because during the day on LinkedIn, you can get let down. You can get worn out, burned out, you name it. It can happen. It happened to me. There were times at 4:00, I just couldn't do anymore.
Right.
I was just out, like the gas just was empty. But by having a collaboration group, which we have on Wednesdays at 10 a.m., by having friends and colleagues like Marilyn, it takes you out of yourself. And by having this show, maybe for individuals like you or other people who are watching who have yet to comment, it may give you that extra day of don't give up yet.
Yeah. We've had other people in the group that we had one guy that wanted to give up, and he says, oh, I'm just about ready. I'm just not going to do LinkedIn anymore. And I said, what do you mean you're not going to do LinkedIn? For people who say that, don't give up. And we've got somebody, Mr. Barra, from Paris. How cool is that? So don't give up. Find a way to do it. Put your big boy, big girl pants on. I have done a lot of shows in my life. A lot of them have been live. They're not Memorex. They're not recorded. Like today, it's live. I am who I am. You see Don and me. This is who we are. We don't put on airs. We don't pretend. We just don't. And I have had people say, "Oh, Marilyn, I'm so nervous about doing this." Hey, it's easy. It's a conversation between you and me. Don and I are having a conversation between he and I. That's it. And when you have a conversation with somebody, it makes it a whole lot easier. And people would say to me, "Gosh, Marilyn, that was a whole lot easier than I thought it would be."
Mm-hmm.
No sense being nervous about it. Yeah, you may have to put your big girl, big boy pants on, but you can get out there and you can teach people. You can tell people the ins and outs of LinkedIn, what you found are working for you, and maybe they might be working for somebody else. That's why Don and I are so motivated to do this, to help other people. The meeting he has on Wednesdays, he's talking about 10 o'clock his time. Well, I live on the East Coast. He lives in Mountain Time. So for me, it's 12 o'clock, just to clarify that. But that is a meeting I really try not to miss unless I absolutely have to. And if I can't be there, I definitely let him know. I've learned so much from other people being on there, and I've learned so much from Don Cohen on what he's doing. And right now, LinkedIn, that's the thing to do. That's the place to be. It's simple, and it doesn't take a lot of time. And once you're done, you're done.
Yeah, and you know, if you're comfortable with yourself,
right,
and you're comfortable being yourself in front of other people, then it's just like moving into their living room with them. And, you know, giving them a chance to get to know you, because at the end of the day, nothing matters in a relationship if there isn't trust.
Right.
Right? And when people see you, hear you, be with you, they've got a more inclination to trust you. Well, we'll get Lukoya is enjoying the talk from Kenya. So we've got Kenya and Paris here. I can only imagine what we got going on in the U.S. if we got that going on everywhere else.
Well, we're global, Don. We're global.
Our message is, that's right, our message is universal.
That's right.
What works here works in Kenya, works in Paris. And all it is bringing the best you to the table, you know. And, you know, the people I'm starting to meet on LinkedIn Live, and this is weird, but it's interesting, is they all seem to be focused on connecting people with other people. You know, the guy this morning says, as soon as I see there's somebody that someone would like to talk to or should, I make an introduction. You know, and it costs hardly nothing. And, you know, if they do something, they do something. But I'm constantly matching people up. And then there was a lady who said that she gets asked all the time to do stuff she doesn't do. So she keeps a whole thing of people who do that stuff, right? If someone says, I want my profile fixed, and she said, I don't do it, but, you know, Gary can help you, right? And that's really where the goodwill gets generated, because anybody can say the nice words, you know, but are they doing anything with you or for you?
Right.
Right? If they're not showing up, they're not there. So don't dream about something that ain't going to be there, which is someone who says, you know, great post, keep up the good work. You know, that is just a distraction. And you have to really draw the line with what you'll accept and the way you'll accept it from who you accept it. Right? If you were a filter, you would dial in what you're trying to filter.
Right.
And what I don't want is people who waste time people who aren't authentic and real, and people who don't know how to give in order to get.
Yeah,
And that,
you'll know if somebody wants. The best thing to do, and Don taught me this a long time ago, the best thing to do is schedule a meeting with them, either a Zoom, or if they want to do a LinkedIn Live right then and there, or if you want to get to know them first on a Zoom or a Google Meet, do that, because you'll really know it's a real person. There's a lot of bots out there that will say, "Oh, great," but who says that that's really a human? I don't know. Don and I have an enormous amount of connections. I think between the two of us, we have close to 60,000 connections, I guess.
that's a lot of thousands.
Yeah, that's a lot of thousands. But do we know them all? Do we know? No. But the thing is, offline to get to meet them on Zoom, and thank God we have Zoom, or you can meet them on Google Meet or Skype or whatever you want to meet them on. But to get offline with them, to get to know them, to see if you can develop a relationship with them. That's what I like to do. So I think that's a good advice for people to take. It takes a little bit of time, but it doesn't cost anything. Basically.
Yeah, and I think that's key, is who do you really want to talk to?
Exactly.
You got to figure that out, right? Once you figure out who you want to talk to, then start talking to them. It's as simple as that. People do these convoluted, indirect, 5-step things. It's like, hey, blah, 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 let's jump on a call. And the only reason you would do that is if you felt you had something they would want to hear. Right? Because if you're not taking care of them, they're not going to be taking care of you.
No.
Right? And you're probably going to take care of them and not get taken care of. And that's the way it is. And that's just the price of admission to someone's time and attention. Because they were living whatever life they were living, and all of a sudden you show up and say, can I take a half an hour? We have a Zoom. And their thing in their mind is, why am I doing this? And who is this person? If you have enough credibility, which you can build with a LinkedIn Live by just projecting. They already know you before they get to know you, or have to get to know you. So it's an easy way to put your toe in the water for a lot of these people, because we've got a couple comments today. I know there's 15, 20 people who are watching it who aren't commenting, and that's fine. I'm not looking to shame anybody into commenting. But the point is, everybody's at a different level of participation.
Yep.
And some people want to jump right in. And what I'm doing and what Marilyn's doing, it makes it easy to be a co-pilot, right? If someone doesn't want to pilot their own show, doesn't want to get into learning everything, well, then be a guest, right? And get a feel for it. And then if you like it and you see how simple it is, maybe you'll do it, and maybe you'll invite other people. And all of a sudden, a whole group of population gets elevated into actually having a voice and sharing it together versus competing in the post comment like. I mean, there is so much vanity. And the more I see how authentic LinkedIn Live is, the more inauthentic I see. I mean, they got some glamour people who are just like going overboard, just to get your attention. That's what it's about.
Yep.
And hopefully.
The look at me people. Look at me, look at me.
Yeah, the people who show you Paris and London and my $1 million Rolls Royce and let's be friends. I mean, it's so awkward. It's like, I'm so here and you're so there, but we're buddies, and people fall for that.
Yeah.
People get sucked in. And that's why I don't want anything to do with it. And to be honest with you, even if there's some people out there, I don't want anything to do with those people anymore. They didn't serve me well, and obviously it never built. But you know what it did? You get enough bumps and bruises in the going through the jungle, that when you finally find daylight and opportunity, you know what a difference it is, but more importantly, you know it is. There's so many people on LinkedIn searching for a prize they're never going to find because of the way they're going about it, and because they can't fix themselves yet. They can't understand why nobody is attracted to them, but they never listen to themselves. The good thing about LinkedIn Live, you can see what other people see. And at that point, you say, well, is that the me I want to project?
Yeah.
And the nice thing about LinkedIn Live is you have control. You can ask, you can do whatever you want for as long as you want, with whoever you want. And once you get tired, it's like done with the show.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And what happens is Marilyn's right, there are some good combos out there. There are some good pairs when they get together. They project better than they do on their own. And they complement each other. And they make people comfortable to be with two of them, right? Anybody can sit in a room with one person, add another person to the mix, and see how the conversation goes. And if it goes really well, then you've got something. And the nice thing is, and I can attest to this, if I can do this, if Marilyn can do this, anybody can do this. Well, if you can hit go live and then go back to wherever you were, whatever you were, and talk about naturally how you feel. One thing I learned too, people spend so much time trying to thinking of their content instead of making their content their thoughts. So they're trying to create a short story or a novel or something, when it should be, hey, I was just thinking about this morning, something that I just learned, or I think, here it is, right? And that makes it fresh and makes it different, because if you got the 10 best ways of doing something today, it ain't going to change much tomorrow.
No.
Or you didn't have nothing to start with if you can change that quickly. So the point is, it's how you deliver it. It's how people see it from different angles. And really, what is the piece that someone needs to make themselves better for getting it? Forget about life-changing and transformational. It's just, hey, anytime you're doing a jigsaw puzzle, right? You throw a piece in, it gives you some sense of accomplishment. And when you put the last piece in, you remember how much time this took and how frustrating it was to get the edges and stuff. But LinkedIn Live's like that too. If you give yourself enough rope that, you got some room to run, and you can do things on a regular conversational basis. Because here's the thing everybody needs to keep in mind. It just takes one. You might have 800 million people. You just need one who will say, hey, you're who I relate to. Or I've been watching you 6 different times, and now I'm finally okay with you. And I'm okay to have a call. Or more importantly, I love to be on the show. If someone's watching from the sidelines, every day, it's like, bring them on the stage. If they're that much of a fan, if they love being around it, let them be in it. And I think that way it retains them more. And now they take some ownership for it.
Mm-hmm.
And it gives them maybe a stairway to having their own show, having their own voice. There are so many people out there who are stifled, who are in relationships or situations where they can't really express themselves, they can't really be themselves. And LinkedIn Live can give people that doorway, because it's a different culture, it's a different world, and they can find different people who can better support them while still maintaining everything outside of it.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes all you need is a friend. Forget about a customer. Forget about anything. I know that me and Marilyn have friends on LinkedIn like Carmen. We talk about her a lot, right? And so those things had value and inspiration. So you really got to decide what you want and give yourself enough patience, enough understanding not to beat yourself up, and ask yourself, how come I'm not making money, or how come I'm not getting this? And the answer is always, you got to change. Whatever you're doing is getting you what you're getting. If you like it, you're lucky, stay with it. If you don't, if no one's paying you, if no one's rewarding you, who are you walking away from? Right? When I had all those connections and I was tagging like a house on fire.
He was.
Right?
He was definitely tagging. So much so he wound up in LinkedIn tag jail numerous
All the time. All the time. It was like, how many can I get in before they cut me off that day? But you know what? I was persevering. I was going to the limit. I was giving it everything I got every day of the week. And you know what happened? Either you break through or you find out you're not going to break through. You're putting your head up against a steel wall or something.
Right.
And that way you move. And up until LinkedIn Live, there was nowhere to move to. And I saw the crazy stuff people were doing that either was a lot of fluff, but worse, people taking advantage of people for some real money that had nothing behind what they were doing. And that's what people got to understand. There's two worlds out there on LinkedIn. There's the dark world where people are not people, bots. They're scamming. They're doing all that stuff, and they're good at it because that's what they do. And then there's the other side, like people like me and Marilyn, who are quality people. I never heard anybody yet on LinkedIn. I can say that for the time I've been doing this, I never took advantage of anybody. And if I did, I took care of them if there was anything, because there was nothing to it, and that's the thing. And there never should have been nothing to it. It's just everything is as it goes, and everything is up to someone's level of satisfaction. And that's what people have to really understand out there is, do you want to be a player on LinkedIn or a spectator? And if you want to be in the stands, you're already there. You don't got to do nothing. But if you want to be a player, you got to get on the field. You got to suit up. You got to practice. I mean, you got to play. You just can't go to the Green Bay Packers and say, I want to be the quarterback next week. It don't work like that. LinkedIn's the same way. Okay, here's the field. Everybody can stand on it. But how many people can stay standing on it and then move forward? And I've seen it. I mean, in the 3 years I've been doing this every day, I haven't seen much success, depending on what you qualify as success, as far as people that could make a living doing it, people who could get any business they wanted or anybody they wanted anytime they wanted. So, one has to ask themselves, maybe that's not what you go for if no one's getting it. It's like putting an order in that ain't ever going to be filled. Right. So the point is why don't you just get back to yourself? You start with yourself. You should add whatever LinkedIn to yourself and then get back to yourself with what you picked up. But I'm not building LinkedIn's dream. They got plenty of money. They got Microsoft. They got everything. They don't need me. And I do need them. So that's why if I didn't, I wouldn't be here.
Right.
Right? And so I can't blame them for anything. They're not going to make it happen for me unless they make it happen for everybody. And if they could, they probably would. So at the end of the day, you got to make it for yourself, with yourself. Because that's what you carry wherever you go. And then some people are looking for leadership. Some people are looking for direction. Some people want to be told what to do because they have given up, or they've listened to a lot of gurus who didn't know what they were talking about. Right? So, for your own protection, don't do certain things with certain people. And for your own benefit, do certain things with certain people that you've gotten to know and trust.
Right.
And that's been forever mankind, right? Since there have been caves, people have gotten to see people, talk to people, and decide, hey, this is a good person. And LinkedIn Live will do that. And somebody like myself or Marilyn, who've been through the rigors of LinkedIn, could give you some hints of where the landmines are, can explain things that I wish I would have been having that benefit of experience.
Yeah, me too. Me too. So, yeah, I agree. You also need to nurture a relationship with somebody. It's important. I mean, Don and I have a lot of people on LinkedIn, but how many people do we spend time with?
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's okay, because I know a lot of people, but I have very few friends, which I'm totally okay with. So be mindful of who you're hanging with, and don't
Mm-hmm.
edify them at your expense. That's like, don't do that, because if you're edifying them and you don't get anything back in exchange, they're not worth being around.
No, and that's so important, Marilyn. And the other thing is the reason why we don't do more with more people is they choose not to do more with us.
Mm-hmm.
Right? If more people wanted to talk with us, more people wanted to get involved in LinkedIn Live or even our Wednesday meetings, we're available.
Yep.
Right? So it's really about, people figuring it out and then, applying it.
Mm-hmm.
So anyways, this has been great as always. I hope everybody out there enjoyed, the LinkedIn Live. We're
And
available.
got something out of it. That's
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, you know what? I got a lot out of it. And it made me think about things I probably wouldn't have and say things I wouldn't have. And it gave everybody a chance to get to know everybody a little bit better today. And if you want to get to know us better tomorrow, tune in tomorrow or the next day. LinkedIn does announce when we go live.
Right.
And I pre-post about 10, 15 minutes early to announce. So yeah, and share with your friends. Sharon's Karen. And that gives us an opportunity to get our message out a little bit further and maybe help a few more people. So with that, any final words, Marilyn?
No, just connect with us. Now you can't connect with Don because he has so many people, but you can follow him, but you can still connect with me and ask Don about the meeting on Wednesdays. I guarantee you will get some nugget out of that meeting.
Yeah, for sure. Excuse me. Well, thanks again, Marilyn. And
Thanks.
thank you, audience. And we'll